This video is to show how we can subtract mixed numbers. Remember, mixed numbers are numbers that have both a whole number and a fractional part. So let's say that I'm baking and I'm starting with, in my house, 5.5 cups of flour. And my recipe calls for 2 3/4 of a cup. So what I need to do is figure out how much flour I'm going to have after this baking. I can solve this a couple of ways. I can draw pictures to show. I can use improper fractions, which personally I find difficult because I have a hard time visualizing what those improper fractions would look like. Or I can use what Mrs. Fabian has taught you guys as the stacking method. So I'm going to show you the picture just so you can visually see, and I'm also going to use the stacking method. So 5.5 is what I'm starting with. So here are my holes. I'm going to try to make these as equal as possible. Okay, so I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 cups. I need to take away 2 3/4. Taking away the 2 holes is easy. Taking away the 3/4 means that I need to partition one of my holes into fourths. So I'm going to pick this one right here. And I'm going to take away 3/4. So here I have 1/4 left. I have 1 hole left, 1 hole left, and 1/2. So then I need to combine my 2 holes. So that's 2. And now I need to combine my 1/4 and my 1/2. In order to combine those, I need to make sure that they have the same denominator. I know, because we've done this a lot, that 1/2 is equal to 2/4. So 2/4 and 1/4 would equal 3/4. So 5.5 minus 2 3/4 equals 2 3/4. I would have 2 3/4 of a cup of flour left. Now that I've shown you using a picture, let me show you the stacking method, because we don't always have time or space to be able to show the pictures, and sometimes even if we do have the time, it's hard to show it in such a neat way. So the stacking method, I'll write the same problem over on the other side of the board. So I'm going to flip it around. Apologize. So we have 5.5 minus 2 3/4. Before I can use the stacking method, I need to make sure that they have the same denominator. And so I'm going to use my denominator of 4. I know that 1/2 is the same as 2/4. So this is like saying 5 2/4 minus 2 3/4. Now that I've rewritten my equation or expression, I'm going to write it up and down so I can use the stacking method. Okay. If I'm starting with 2/4, I can't take away 3/4. So I'm going to take one of my holes and I'm going to add it to my fractional part. So I'm adding 4/4 because that is equivalent to a whole. So now I have 6/4 and I'm subtracting 3/4. So 6/4 minus 3/4 is 3/4. I have 4 minus 2 is 2. I came up with the same answer of 2 3/4. So again, just to review, when you are subtracting with mixed numbers and you want to use the stacking method, you first need to make sure that you have the same denominator. So you're going to find the least common multiple. You line it up so that you can use the stacking method. If you are unable to subtract the fractional parts, you need to regroup by taking one of your wholes and making an improper fraction. So we took 4/4 and added it over here to make 6/4. And then we were able to proceed with the subtracting. Same answer, whether we use the picture or the stacking method.